Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear students, welcome back. Inshallah, in this lecture we will cover the second act or act 2 of our interesting play All for Love by John Dryden. Okay, so this is, as you can see, this is the 11th lecture. Hope you already studied and read the previous one, lecture number 10, which was about the dramatic works of John Dryden, and also something about the subtitle of the play, and a brief summary of Act 1. Today, inshallah, as you can see in this lecture, a summary of Act 2. Okay, so starting with this, Cleopatra's sadness at Antony's decision to leave. Of course, as you know that Act 1 ended with advantageous ability to convince Antony to leave with him, and it means also that he is going to leave Cleopatra, and we know that Ventidius' main reason for convincing Antony to leave Cleopatra is that he believes that Antony's love for Cleopatra is the main reason for his ruin and for his failure and his destruction and all these things. So he could, at the end of Act 1, convince Antony to leave with him and to start a war against Octavian. Now, this news came to Cleopatra, and that's why the Act 2 starts with this Cleopatra's sadness. She is sad because Antony decided to leave Alexandria. So Cleopatra's sadness at Antony's decision to leave. Cleopatra, as you can see, is feeling grieved, so sad, to learn that Ventidius has prevailed upon Antony to leave Alexandria and go with him to fight against Octavius. Chairman, the other maid companion of Cleopatra, now returns after having delivered Cleopatra's message of love to Antony, who is getting ready to quit Alexander. So she sent Antony a message with Chairman, who is a maid of Cleopatra. Chairman then says that Antony has expressed his inability to meet Cleopatra before leaving. So in this message, she wrote that she wants to meet him before leaving Alexandria, but Antony, after reading the message, told her messenger that he would not be able to meet her before leaving, but had said that he would always respect her. Okay, now Alexis' suggestions to Cleopatra. Alexis now intervenes and tells Cleopatra that she has misjudged Antony because he is under the influence of her passion and is making no use of her reason. Alexis then suggests that Cleopatra should try to meet Antony before Antony actually departs from Alexandria, because she might then be able to prevent his departure altogether. So Alexis, who was one of her advisors, told her that she has to go immediately to meet Antony before leaving, in order to be able to convince him to change his mind and to change his decision of leaving Alexandria. Antony's disparaging remarks about Octavius. Antony, Ventidius, and the military officers, and we know that at the end of Act 1, after being able to, after Ventidius being able to convince Antony of launching and starting a war against Octavius, they tried to prepare themselves for this war. So we have here Antony, Ventidius, and the military officers who are to accompany them now appear, fully prepared to leave Alexandria. Octavius is incapable of taking an initiative in war. So they believe that Octavius now is not able to have the decision of starting a war against them, and that Octavius is incapable of launching or starting an attack upon the enemy. Now Cleopatra thought of a certain trick to convince Antony to change his mind and stay in Alexandria and not leaving. Gifts from Cleopatra. Antony inclined to see Cleopatra. Alexis, who advised Cleopatra of something, he now appears on the scene and addressing Antony says that the mournful Cleopatra, he was speaking to Antony and telling him that Cleopatra is so sad, grieved, and mournful. Cleopatra has sent 1,000 good wishes to him and his comrades in arms. So he said that Cleopatra wishing you lots of good wishes in order to have victory in their word and their war against Octavius. Alexis then distributes few diamonds among Antony's commanders. And this is the trick that Cleopatra sent some diamonds as gifts to the commanders of the army, saying that Cleopatra has sent these gifts as a token of her goodwill, wishing them goodwill by sending them these diamonds. Ventidius, who is fully aware of the trick of Cleopatra and who is all the time, you will find Ventidius throughout the whole play does not trust Cleopatra and does not want her to come close to Antony, and all the time he is trying to separate and make Antony leave Cleopatra. So Ventidius bluntly refuses to accept any gift sent by Cleopatra. Antony, however, accepts the ruby bracelets which Cleopatra has sent for him, even though Ventidius stoutly opposes Antony's acceptance of her gift. So although Ventidius refused to accept the gifts, Antony accepts this gift. Ventidius warns Antony. He knows what is Cleopatra having in her mind and what she intends to do. He is expecting her to do something tricky in order to make Antony changes his mind of leaving her. So Ventidius warns Antony that these gifts symbolize only misfortunes and disasters for those who accept them. Antony then tries to tie the bracelets on his arm, but is unable to do so. He tried to tie these bracelets around his arm, but he was unable to do so. Whereupon Alexis suggests, look how Alexis is cunning. He suggests that this bracelet should be tied on Antony's army. By whom? By the person who sent it. So he is trying cunningly to arrange a meeting between Antony and Cleopatra. He is trying to give her a chance to see Cleopatra, to see Antony, and to affect him, to have influence on him in order to change his mind of leaving. So on Antony's arms by the person who sent it. Ventidius then urges Antony not to allow Cleopatra to come near him. Okay? But Antony says that he would only be bidding farewell to her. Ventidius says that all his efforts to wean away Antony from her failed. So now Antony, Ventidius, although he is trying hard to break that relation between the two, but still he is unable to separate the two lovers. Still, he feels that whenever he is trying to do, Cleopatra is trying to do something against, and she wins, and he loses at the end. So Ventidius says that all his efforts to wean away Antony from her failed. Ventidius expresses his fear that Antony would again fall into Cleopatra's trap. So he's expecting again Antony to fall into Cleopatra's trap. And of course, you know the meaning of the word trap. But Antony asserts that he has formed a firm resolve to leave her and that nothing can shake his resolve. So Antony is trying to tell Ventidius that this will not change anything in his decision to leave her. Okay. Now Antony's impeachment of Cleopatra. Then, after sending the diamonds, after sending the gifts, Cleopatra herself appears, accompanied by Charmian and Eras, two of the maids. Cleopatra tells Antony that the gods have become jealous, that gods have become jealous of her love for him and his love for her. She says that the whole world has become hostile to her and her love. So she is trying to convince him that all the people, the whole world is jealous of that nice and pure feelings between them. She says that the whole world has become hostile to her and her love, and would therefore like to bring about a separation between her and him. She then says that Antony himself has also turned her. He believes that she is responsible for having ruined him. Even Antony starts to be convinced that she is the main reason for his ruin. Valvia, who is the wife, it was the wife of Antony, had grown jealous of his love for her, Cleopatra, and had in fact died. His wife died because of this jealousy that she had against Cleopatra. His wife Valvia died because of his unkindness towards her. Thus it was she who had brought about his downfall. Now, says Antony, Ventidius, who is an honest man and who is his only friend, has been able to gather together 12 legions who are ready to fight under his command against Octavius. He must therefore leave, and says Antony that he has to leave. Now we have Ventidius' charges against her and her reply. Ventidius at this point refers to Cleopatra as temptress, someone who is trying to tempt Antony, who is trying to lure Antony from the path which has now chosen to follow. So as Ventidius believes that now after Antony decided to leave Alexandria and to go for war, now he seeing Cleopatra is trying to make him change his mind about this. He insists that it was she who had ruined Antony. She admits that she had urged Antony to fight at sea, and not on land. But she had not betrayed. She is asserting in front of all of them that she did not betray Antony. But she had not betrayed Antony. She had fled. She had not betrayed Antony. There is no was here. Please consider this is not there. She had fled from the battle, but she had not gone and joined the enemy, which means that she did not flee because she is betraying Antony and joined the enemy. But if she had fled, if she had left the battle, it was because of her womanly fear. Ventidius, intervening, says that if again Antony were to be faced with danger at any time, she would still desert him in order to save her own skin. So Ventidius is so aggressive against Cleopatra, and he did not trust her, telling her that if it happens again and there would be a war between Antony and Octavius, she would do the same, and also she would escape and flee, which means that he is accusing her of being insincere to Antonio, and all what she cares about is only her life and not the life of Antonio or any of the lives of the others. Now Cleopatra's trump card. Now when she feels that Ventidius is able to have effect and to influence Antony, now she used her last card in convincing Antony not to leave. Cleopatra's trump card. Cleopatra now plays her trump card. She produces a letter. She gave Antony a letter. And what was in that letter? She produces a letter which she says Octavius had written to her. Antony recognizes the handwriting as that of Octavius. So when Antony looked at the letter, he could know that these handwritings are really the handwriting of Octavius. Octavius' letter contains an offer of 2 kingdoms to Cleopatra in exchange for her for forsaking Antony. So in that letter, it was written by Octavius, who is the enemy of Antony, that he is going to give her 2 kingdoms if she left Antony and joining the forces of Octavius. So he told her, he promised her that he would give her 2 kingdoms in condition that she has to leave Antony and join his forces. Octavius has promised to make her the queen not only of Egypt but also of Syria, in case she becomes his ally. So in case she joined his forces, in case Cleopatra joined the forces of Octavius, Octavius would in return give her 2 kingdoms, Egypt and Syria, as presents to her. Okay, Cleopatra reveals that she had spurned Octavius' offer, that she refused. She's speaking now to Antony and telling him that I refused this offer, although he tried to give her 2 kingdoms and to make her the queen of these 2 kingdoms. So she said, Cleopatra reveals that she had spurned Octavius' offer only because she has always been loyal to Antony. She told him that I refused this offer because I'm loyal to you, because you are worth than any other kingdoms that she might have. So Antony is now deeply moved by Cleopatra's fidelity to him and loyalty to him. Now he was deeply moved, he was deeply affected by her sincerity to him, that she refused these 2 kingdoms because she wanted to stay with him. So, and Alexis says privately to himself, he melts and we conquer. In this case, every one of those who were attending the scene, everyone was sure that now Cleopatra could win the battle against Ventidius, and now Antony is fully convinced not to leave Cleopatra at that time. So one of those who affirms this is the Alexis, who, as I said, is one of the advisors of Cleopatra. He said when he saw the effect of what Cleopatra said to Antony, he said that he melts, that he surrendered completely to her. He melts, we conquer. Cleopatra urges Antony to go to the wars because his interest requires that he should do so. But again, Cleopatra is very intelligent. She tried to show Antony and to tell him in front of Ventidius that I do not want to keep you from war, but okay, you can go, but do not leave me. You can go and come back to me again. So Cleopatra urges Antony to go to the wars because his interest requires that he should do so. She says that her arms are too weak to hold him here. Antony's decision to stay on in Alexandria with Cleopatra, after knowing this, that she refused to be the queen of 2 kingdoms, he decided to stay in Alexandria and not to leave Cleopatra. Antony is now moved by Cleopatra's piteous manner of speaking that he says that all this is too much for any man to endure. Cleopatra says that if it is difficult for a man to endure all this, it would much more difficult for a woman like her to endure it all. She describes herself as a weak, forsaken woman who is in love and who can hardly bear her separation from her lover. Ventidius at this point intervenes again. Of course, he does not accept this and asks Antony what value this worthless woman can have in his eyes. He did not like her at all, and he did not trust her. As compared to his fortunes, his honor, and his fame, he said, how are you convinced to stay and leave that fame, that fortunes, that honor that you might get out of this war? Antony replies that in discovering Cleopatra's innocence and finding her really in love with him, he has made a bigger conquest than he could have done by defeating Octavius. Antony now bids Ventidius apologize to Cleopatra for having brought all kinds of charges against him. Not only this, but he, as he said, apologizes. He says, sorry to you, Cleopatra, for having brought all kinds of charges, because I charged you, because I accused you of being insincere to me. Ventidius then asks if Antony would go with him or not. Now, Ventidius is quite angry and fed up, and he asks Antony, would you go with me, or now it's over and you are going to stay with her? Antony replies that he is not prepared to leave Cleopatra. Now he decides not to leave Cleopatra, who represents everything that is excellent. His faith, his sense of honor, his virtue, and all good things forbid him to leave a woman who value his love above the price of kingdoms. Still now remembering that she refused to leave him and to betray him, even if it was the price 2 kingdoms presented and offered to her by Octavius. As for himself, he would not pleased with anything else than Cleopatra. Antony's plan to launch a surprise attack, but again Antony decides to launch and to start a surprise attack against the troops and the soldiers of Octavius, the army of Octavius. An idea now occurs to Antony, who would make a surprise attack on the besieging Rome troops. He also Cleopatra to leave the unlocking of the gate which opens towards Octavius' camp. He decides to leave Egyptian force in order to launch an assault upon Octavius' troops, who would be at least expecting them. Now, if we have a look again at this, at the plan of Antony to start a war against Octavius' troops and army, we need to go back to this idea that he has. He has an idea that occurs to Antony, who would make a surprise attack. So he decides that to make his troops and his soldiers to attack the troops of Octavius in surprise in order to be able to win the battle and the war against them. So he would make a surprise. He would make a surprise attack on the besieging Roman troops. He asks Cleopatra to order the unlocking of the gate which opens towards Octavius' troops, because you know those people a long time ago, they were living in like castles. So and these castles they had different big gates. So he asked Cleopatra to open the gate, to leave it unlocked, which opens towards Octavius' camp. And of course, he decides to lead an Egyptian force in order to launch an assault upon activist troops who would be least expecting them. So he decides to go through that gate which Cleopatra is going to unlock and leave it open to them in order to surprise the troops of Octavius. And of course, when they were surprised, they would not be able to fight against the Egyptian force or the Egyptian forces led by Antony. Now let's have a look at again this point, which is samples of the questions. Ventidius expresses his that Antony would again fall into Cleopatra's trap. So we know that now Ventidius is the main enemy to Cleopatra. So Ventidius expresses his what? His happiness, his confusion, his depression, or his fear. His A, that Antony would again fall into Cleopatra's trap. His happiness, of course, never. We cannot choose this. Why? Because we know that Ventidius is a real enemy to Cleopatra. His confusion, not this one. His depression, also not this one. But the right and correct answer here to this is D. So Ventidius expresses his fear that Antony would again fall into Cleopatra's trap. Okay, now let's look at the other question, question number 2. Octavius's letter contains an offer of A, of how many kingdoms? Remember that offer by Octavius to Cleopatra, to Cleopatra in exchange for her forsaking Antony. If she, remember this, he promised her, he offered her two kingdoms, and he offered her to be the queen of Egypt and Syria, these two kingdoms, in case or in condition that she would depart and forsake Antony and to join his forces, to join, I mean, the forces of Octavius. So here Octavius' letter contains an offer of 2 kingdoms, 3 kingdoms, 4 kingdoms, well, 5 kingdoms to Cleopatra in case for the forsaking Antony. Of course, the right answer is letter A, as you can see that Octavius' letter contains an offer of 2 kingdoms. Of course, you know these 2 kingdoms, Egypt and Syria. So this is also another question as a kind of sample of the questions, and again I'm repeating and repeating that these would not be the questions in the final, to just to give you an idea about what you are going to have inshallah in the final. Okay, so now I have already finished my lecture, the 11th lecture. Inshallah, we will continue with this interesting story of All for Love, written by Dryden, the story of Cleopatra and Antonio. What's going to happen? What's going to happen between Ventidius and Cleopatra, that minor battle between the two, who is going to be the winner and who is going to be the losers. We stopped with Antony preparing himself and preparing his forces, his troops, to start a war against Octavius, with the help of Cleopatra, who is going to unlock the gate towards the troops of Octavius. Thank you very much for being with me in this lecture. Inshallah, I'll meet you in still we have about 3 lectures again. Thank you very much. Best of luck to all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.